Test. What's up, everybody? Couple Casuals Podcast, Quick Rips, episode number 6. We're back again. I need to make another quick rip. I needed to jump on here quick and follow up with you guys to talk about a special something. The Trucker Convoy, also known as Freedom Convoy 2022. We got to talk about some. It's like a follow up almost. It's like a follow up from the last one I did not too long ago. In regards to ending the vaccine mandates and the restrictions and lockdowns and all that absolutely stupid stuff. So quick salute here. All right, let's get into it. So it's been just over 2 weeks now. The Freedom Convoy took flight throughout Canada. Everybody's gathered and congregated. People that are opposing vaccine mandates. And that's a quick distinction I want to make right away. Because, guys, we're in a time today where the media, the legacy media, the fake news media, whatever you want to call them, are somewhat dishonest. I think that's one thing that we're learning from experiences like this. And sometimes, depending on which channel you're on or what day it is or what the weather's like, they say some things that are just completely wrong. And one of the things that they say is anti-vaccine protest. It's not that. It's not that at all. What it is an anti-mandate. Or do we even have to use the word anti? It's a protest against mandates specifically. And that's a big distinction to make, guys. A lot of people that are a part of this protest are vaccinated. We're over 2 years in this pandemic, and a lot of people feel that we have gathered enough knowledge, gathered enough experience to be able to diligently deal with this virus properly without requiring people to do something. And the irony behind this is this certain individual, let's just get him out of the way, Mr. JT, Justin Trudeau. He's been essentially in hiding or quarantine, whatever you want to call it, for the past 2 weeks. He's come out now. He's mainly been doing the same thing that he always does, dividing the country, using every pejorative in the book. Now, the irony behind it is that he's relentlessly continuing to push these vaccine mandates. And the best part about it is this. He's telling you the way to get out of the way to get, like he always does, right? With his fake personality. Like the way he talks, it's like a typical politician, like your generic politician. Any person with a brain between their ears can just look at him and be like, this guy, come on. Trustworthy? I don't know about that. He's really pushing. The way to get out of this pandemic is these mandates. The way to get out of the pandemic is for everybody to get vaccinated. The irony is that he is forcing us, and that's what he's doing, because he's giving you an ultimatum. He's like, get your vaccine or lose your job. So that's forcing, which was interesting because Shaq actually commented on that. He got into a little tangle, which you see more people are starting to rise up, which that's what you need.
And you shouldn't have to be forced to take something that you don't want. So
I don't think people are being forced to take. Well, there are some. Listen, we have a mandate at CBS.
That's force.
We have a mandate at CBS. But my point.
That's force.
But where I wholeheartedly.
That's force.
No, it's not force.
It is force, because if the man don't take it, the man gonna get fired.
You need reasonable people to rise up and to talk about the inconsistencies in these mandates, in these policies. But what Justin Trudeau said is the way to get out of this pandemic is to get vaccinated. It's the only way to do it. Everything else doesn't exist. Buddy, you just tested positive. You're double vaccinated and you got a booster, but you won't let people get their jobs back because they don't have that vaccine that you have that you still ended up testing positive for. Do we not see the inconsistencies here? The inconsistencies. Excuse me, I think I need just one second. The inconsistencies are evident, guys. It's time to stop playing this game. We got to let people choose. Now, the Freedom Convoy, it's been going on for about 2 weeks. And from the day it started, they started to try to find a way to discredit them, to wait it out. They'll mess up. They'll do something that will give us justification to smear and discredit this protest. The reality is, this protest is not what they're saying it is. And the media, the government, liberals in particular, are painting this picture that most people, most reasonable Canadians can see right through. This Freedom Convoy is not just about vaccine mandates, which in particular, that's what it is about. But by default, it has become this fight against the dishonest media, the corrupt politicians, and the censorship. People are starting to see it. People are starting to, I don't want to even use the word wake up, but people are starting to notice it. These protests are overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. Now they're sticking on that one incident that happened when this originally started. From day one, that's all they got. Think about it for 1 second. There was that one fat guy who was dressed all in black with his whole face covered. He was the only one there, and he had a Nazi flag. Absolute disgrace. The one guy. Imagine that. One guy. The images would have surfaced by now. There was literally one guy. There was one guy with a Nazi flag and one guy with a Confederate flag. Does that mean that the whole group is racist? That the whole group are bad people? people? Do we not hold individuals accountable for their actions, not the whole group? How are you guilty by association? That's not fair. Thousands and thousands of people, and one guy decides to show up and be an idiot, which, by the way, we don't know where he came from. This guy could have been from anywhere. Like, he's not a part of the convoy. He was condemned from the start. This guy is not with us. And he was actually led out by other protesters because they understand the implications of having an idiot. That's what he is. An idiot like that there, because there's taken away from the hardworking, decent Canadian families that are there. Because that's who's there, guys. The backbone of our society, truckers. The truckers worked through the pandemic. They went importing, exporting goods throughout the pandemic. They were celebrated at one point by Trudeau, and now they're condemned and they're demonized dishonestly, disingenuously. There's an obvious motivation, a dishonest, malevolent motivation to try to discredit this protest. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? The majority of the overwhelmingly majority of those people that are there are just hardworking Canadians. And the irony is that Liberals and NDP are supposed to be the ones sticking up for the working class. The hypocrisy. We only stand up with you if you're in alignment with our views, with our position. Trudeau said it himself. He said it himself. I won't meet or I won't talk with these people because I don't share the same ideas as them. Who says that as a leader?
Is there a reason that you can give as for why you will not discuss or have any negotiations with this particular group?
I have attended protests and rallies in the past when I agreed with the goals, when I supported the people expressing their concerns and their issues.
Trudeau called them every name in the book. He doubled that. He continues to double down. And the only thing that's doing is motivating them even more. And I hope that they continue to stay peaceful, because the only way to beat this, the only way to become successful and to get your point across is through unity, not violence. And trust me, I like a nice fight every now and again. It's over 2 weeks. And it's been extremely peaceful. Only a handful of arrests. And the majority of the arrests were like people failure to show their identification. There was more arrests at Market Lane when Italy won the Euro Cup. Like, we're discussing the individual choice of Canadians. Other provinces has started to rise up. We see it with Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan has now advised that they are going to lift the mandates. Finally. Fire up a little refill here. See that? That's the sound of freedom. Even medical officials in Canada are saying maybe it's time we start reassessing the importance and the significance surrounding these mandates.
Dr. Tam, Dr. Henry, Dr. Moore, Dr. Hinshaw, Dr. Shahab all agree it's time to shift out of the restrictions and back to normal life.
We can't continue doing this. We can't continue doing this. The trucker convoy has given a lot of people hope. You know, there's been a lot of videos of kids talking over the microphones on the trucks. This one killed me. There was this young boy. He was on the radio and he was saying, "I just want to go back to school and play sports."
To the little child that asked for the horn blow.
Thank you, truck drivers. I really want to go back to school and do sports. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Does that not make you feel any way? The liberals are supposed to be the ones that are driven by empathy and sympathy. But it seems that we only pick and choose when we want to use those emotions. We have to be sympathetic to everybody's position. These are people too. These are Canadians. They should have the right to decide if they want to get this vaccine or not. Now, the people of Ottawa are having to get the brunt of this. And there's a lot going on in Ottawa. But of course, even though it's been extremely peaceful, there's been a lot of honking. The horns. That's their way of protesting. Majority of them are, maybe they're listening to some music, dancing, shotgunning some beers probably, but it's been mainly the honking. The honking's been driving them crazy, but it's still pretty debatable what's more annoying, honking or the view. The people of Ottawa are upset, obviously, rightfully so. I can understand what they're saying. The person to get upset at is Trudeau and the politicians and their motivation to keep doubling down on these mandates. And the mandates, like, think about this, for example. Trudeau, he loves to say this. He loves to say this every single time. Imagine this. Every single time he gets back to this, which again, it's very divisive. Again, he gets back to, he says, again, back to the fake good person Trudeau voice. Most Canadians have done the right thing. Most Canadians have stepped up and got vaccinated because Canadians know that the way out of this pandemic is to get vaccinated. While he just tested positive after having 3 shots and we're still in mandates and lockdowns and all those things. But that's besides the point. He keeps saying that, right? 90% vaccinated in Canada.
Canada has one of the highest vaccination rates of our peer countries around the world. Why? And it's not because Canadians love getting needles. That close to 90% of truckers in this country are vaccinated, like close to 90% of Canadians. Because Canadians stepped up. Because Canadians got vaccinated.
Or whatever he says along those lines. Basically, his point is that the majority of people have gotten vaccinated. Brother, brother, you didn't give them a choice. You told them if you don't get vaccinated, you'll lose your job. You told them if you don't get vaccinated, you can't travel anymore. So most Canadians were like, okay. And then now they're like, what the hell? I didn't sign up for this. When I signed up, I said, I'm going to get vaccinated. Leave me alone now. That didn't happen at all. When they got vaccinated, they said, awesome. I'm going to get vaccinated and then I'll never get the virus. That didn't happen at all. Once again, inconsistent, very, very inconsistent. The inconsistencies are just like flying, just like inconsistency here, inconsistency. You're just like, you're dodging inconsistencies left, right, and center. What are we doing? Do we not see this? And this is why people need to be able to make their own decision. We need to be able to make our own decisions as Canadians. And now everything has settled and a lot of people are upset. So when he keeps saying that, it's like, wait a minute, brother, wait a minute. You keep reverting back to that 90%. Most Canadians have stepped up to do the right thing. If they did and they wanted to get vaccinated, good for them. That's amazing. Awesome. But a lot of those people did it because you told them if they don't, they lose their job. We gotta just go like this, guys. It's done. It's time to move on from the mandates. And I hope that the provinces follow suit. Doug Ford, come here for a second, brother. I got to talk to you for a second. Dougie, when mandates were being talked about initially, we all remember Doug Ford said, I don't want to engage with mandates. I don't want to create a two-tier society.
Will your government provide an actual card or proof of vaccination? And if not, why not?
Well, I've never believed in proof. Everyone gets their proof when they get the vaccination. You're right. Anything can be fraudulent, right down from money to certifications. I just, no, we aren't doing it. Simple as that. But the answer is no. We aren't going to do it. We aren't going to have a split society.
Like most things through this pandemic, another inconsistency. That changed. It changed again. He initially said that he didn't want to create a two-tier society and he didn't want to implement the vaccine mandates, and then he did. Now is his chance to make it right with his voters. Do the right thing, Doug. Have courage. Follow suit like they did in Saskatchewan. Follow suit in these other provinces. Follow suit to these other states. Follow suit in these other countries. Look at bad hairdo guy. Stroke of a pen. Done. Mandates are done. We could do the same thing here. If Doug Ford rises up and decides that he wants to end the mandates in the province of Ontario, it's a big shift. And then, guys, we can get back to life. We can end this stuff. Why do we need to continue fighting with each other? What the hell are we fighting with each other about? Just revert to the individual choice. You make your own decision. If you want to wear the mask all the time, you can wear the mask. If you want to stay home, you still have that choice. But we need to give people their jobs back. We need to give Canadians their right to be able to decide. Trudeau doesn't even want to meet with the truckers. He says, I only meet and support movements or protests that I agree with. Imagine saying that as a leader. Guys, remove your biases from this for a second. Imagine if that was a conservative leader, he would be absolutely crucified. If a conservative leader had a protest going on in Ottawa and he was hiding for essentially a week, he was in quarantine, call it whatever you want, that he had no accountability in addressing the public. If that was a conservative leader, do you honestly think, you watching this video, do you honestly think that the media and everybody would treat him like they did with Trudeau? The media has been unbelievably dishonest through this thing. But the good news is that Canadians are watching. The good news is that the world is watching. And what this does is that all the reasonable people that are not completely dedicated to those narratives and completely dedicated to their party can see. They open their eyes. They listen. They're opening their eyes and they're going, wait a minute. I'm watching what's happening because there's other ways and avenues for me to get my information. I'm watching what's happening. And then I'm watching the news. That's not consistent to what's happening at all. Most of these people that are protesting, a lot of them are families. A lot of them are truckers. A lot of them are healthcare workers, which, by the way, I don't know how this became a healthcare workers versus truckers thing. There's been a lot of healthcare workers that were released and terminated because they decided not to get vaccinated. Do those healthcare workers matter to you too? Are they a part of the equation, or no, they don't matter because they didn't get vaccinated? You can't pick your empathy, guys. If you're empathetic and you care about people, then you need to be able to be open-minded to everything. You need to be able to understand everybody's perspective. Once again, the majority of them got vaccinated, yes, but how much of that was because they were told you get vaccinated or you lose your job? That's not fair. It's not fair to them. And we go, okay, it's just a small minority. That's what he loves saying, eh? The fringe. That's what he said. We are the fringe. That really backfired on him, by the way. Really backfired on him. Because all that did was got people fired the fuck up. They knew. They said, okay, the fringe, we're going to show you. Another thing they did was they removed the GoFundMe. GoFundMe froze their funds. People congregated and they donated quite a bit of money. They raised up to $10 million. $1 million, I believe they had access to. The other $9 million was taken by GoFundMe, or not even just taken. Now, initially they said, this is what they said initially. Imagine this. This is what they said initially. We have decided that this GoFundMe is not going to be given to the truckers because we have evidence of violence, we have evidence of crime, and evidence of it becoming an occupation. So that's what they said. They held the money. And then initially they said, what we're going to do is we're going to give it to groups of our choosing. The fuck you are going to give it to groups of your choosing. You're going to give it back to the people that donated. Then after, through public scrutiny, they said, okay, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Stop yelling. What we'll do is we'll give you your money back. You just got to fill out this 16-page form. There's been other comparing protests where you would wonder why weren't funds frozen in this situation? Why weren't certain funds frozen in that situation? There was plenty of crime in this certain situation, and it was very evident. It was actually encouraged by some politicians. So why is this one getting shut down when it's been overwhelmingly peaceful? Which, by the way, they are pissed about that. I'll never donate to GoFundMe again. That absolutely corrupt organization that it is. It's obviously has political bias, but basically, guys, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I needed to jump on here and just talk about this Freedom Convoy because it is generating a lot of buzz, and it's mainstream news at the minute, even if the mainstream news doesn't want to report it properly. But this is something that we need to consider, possibly revisiting these mandates and building a bridge, finding a way to move forward safely, diligently. It's time. I really hope that this Freedom Convoy stays peaceful because at any day it's going the distance. I really hope that the media doesn't continue to do what it's doing, and that we are able to have conversations like this. We're able to speak. This is very important. We have to be able to speak and move forward. That's what it's about. End the mandates, move forward, give people their jobs back. They deserve it. They've worked throughout the pandemic. They've done what they've had to do. Give people their jobs back. Let's move forward. Stop calling everybody every name in the book. Build a bridge. Let's get to a table. Talk. You have to be able to talk. You have to talk. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for stopping by again for a couple of casuals. I know another little difficult, contentious topic that we wanted to talk about today. But guys, it's what's going on. Thank you so much. It's been another episode of Quick Rips, Couple Casuals podcast. I appreciate you guys. Until next time. Salute. Fuck, that's good.